So the question that was posed by SC had to do with how do I see this? Why does the complainant subject herself to this?
Or you?
And why? Well, let me speak about me firstly. It is not of my making that I'm before this tribunal. Charts that were flirtatious, involving the complainant and I as adults, the two of us having been privy thereto, the two of us having assured one another that these charts were clandestine, have found their way to the public domain. And I'm saying it is embarrassing to me. I regret that it happened. And I can only apologize to South African citizens insofar as they have become privy to embarrassing charts. That's all I can say in relation to my side of the story. And in saying that, I'm simply addressing myself to the embarrassment that has been caused. It's got nothing to do with saying, I am sorry that I had charts. I'm simply saying, I am embarrassed that clandestine charts have become a public spectacle. They are embarrassing to me. They are embarrassing to South Africans. And I owe it to them to say, well, as things are, I'm sorry that these things have found their way to the public domain.
Thank you, JP. Chair.
And then you asked me a question in relation to the complainant, and I said, I can only speculate. This is how I look at it, and I've got to be very blunt. When at some point an observation was made that these are salacious chats between two individuals and no sexual harassment can be sustained, some people somewhere, well, including the complainant herself, thought that we should embellish this claim by saying something happened on the 15th, and then when it turns out that, we've got a problem, let's go for the 14th, this is the starting point. We look at it this way. The last chart that is flirtatious is in February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November, December. Then we are told there's sexual harassment because there had to be this event that occurred in Umtata, which is fallacious, which is a fabrication. This is how I look at the complaint. And I can't help but, when reflecting, I can't help but say, you know what? The complainant could never have done this all by herself. At the realm of speculating now.
Right.
But I guess you would not love me to drag this tribunal to speculative conclusions. Be that as it may, she probably knows better than I, because this is how I also look at it. So it's February 2022 when the charts that are flirtatious are stopped. We just stop it. Lost interest, speaking for myself. And that's where it ends. Flirtatious relationship. And that's where it ends. So this is how I look at it.
18 February 2022.
18 February 2022. And this is what I have to say about how I see things now in hindsight. So from March, I interact with the complainant in the sense that I'm in Makanda, I'm in other places, there's judges farewell, there's nothing said about the complaint. So complainant says nothing to me until I am known that I will be in Umtata on 14 and 15. And this is very significant, counsel, because I believe that that fabrication is meant to bolster an otherwise fragile case, a case that there never was. And I'm going to demonstrate why I say that. To the extent that, and I believe this is the position, it is demonstrably clear that this thing about 14-15 never occurred. One must ask oneself a question. If the complainant was so distressed and frustrated about the charts that commenced in June 2021 until February 22, at least as far as I'm concerned, then she would then have lodged a complaint immediately thereafter. I mean, there's a lapse of 11 months. There's a complaint that is lodged. We have heard of initial complaints. I don't want to venture into that realm. This complaint serves before the Chief Justice. The Chief Justice looks at it. From what we were told here, the view of the Chief Justice was that this is unsatisfactory. And indeed, when we look at the initial, well, call it the complaint that is serving before the tribunal, you can see that there's a lot of things that are missing. we now know in hindsight that what was said there is far less than what was the subject of interaction. But this is also what I want to say. So from my side, I met the complainant for the last time on the 14th of June when I was commenting about the dress code. There are stories and stories around it. Also, we know in the course of time, the JCC makes a recommendation, hence we are here. For the first time, after the JCC issues its recommendation about a possible gross misconduct charge, my portrait is removed from the wall in Makanda. Chairperson, it is removed by the complainant. We now know from Mr. Kokwana, in the course of time, it was removed by the complainant. We know that having removed it, it was reinstated and there was a debate as to what should happen. And then there was a casing, those things were put there. So the complainant can't stare at this handsome face or this once handsome face that is a portrait on the wall. She can no longer look at it. Why? Because she is depressed. Why? Because something allegedly happened on the 14th, which never happened at all. On the 15th, which never happened at all. Something is very suspicious about this. And then there's a discussion about whether the portrait should be hung up there again. And the point is made that, well, no, let's be sensitive. Mr. Kokwana has got a particular view. The AJP has got a particular view. I am not called and engaged in relation to a portrait. So the question that I'm posing is, we've been here in all for 6 months, for 6 weeks in total. Been here under one roof, and then moment could only be made about this complaint by embellishment. Firstly, about...
Sorry, but at one time she asked you to be removed from a certain position because she felt you were uncomfortably
interacting.
close to you.
I did not understand it. Well, she is much closer now, in any event. I understood, Chairperson, to the extent that you are engaging me. I understood it to be that as the proceedings were unfolding, I was whispering and, gesturing and so on. She may have been agitated by that, but I'm saying in any event, the complainant is there, about 7 meters from me.
Chair, I'm afraid, can I respond, please? Can I interject?
Yes.
I think this is quite extraordinary for a judge president to be saying this about a complainant in a sexual harassment case against him. If we're counting the number of times that the complainant has had to show emotion, I will make mention of the fact that you will have noticed that she left the hearing today. That was because she was emotional about what she was hearing. I've asked her to come and sit here because I thought that was a requirement of this tribunal. You'll see that we've placed her in between our attorneys, not on the end. I shouldn't have to say any of this. The judge president is welcome to give his evidence, but to attack the complainant in this manner, on this reason, on this ground, is just completely unfounded, Chair. To say that she's sitting here and not fainting is quite an extraordinary statement to make.
Chairperson.
Yeah, can I intervene? May I request that we take a nicotine or caffeine break? You will be pleasantly surprised that after that, my questions may be fewer or none. Yeah.
Chairperson, through you, counsel, I take umbrage to what is being said by Advocate Batlender. The context of what I was saying was, this is a complaint that is laced up with lies. That is the context that I was addressing the tribunal on. In the main, I'm simply saying, why do you have a situation where a portrait is removed as soon as the JCC makes a recommendation, some months after we've been interacting? That's the point I was simply making. Thank you, Chairperson.
Thank you. Yes. We will come back at 20 to 4. Thank you, Chair.